a lot of people are in a lot of pain too. How do you manage people's pain? What are some things that you do when, someone comes to you and it sounds like this girl was just struggling with her strength, but what do you do when someone's having like some real issues with their pain?
Yeah. Really and truly, the best thing that I have found for pain management has been contrast therapy. This varies, of course, disclaimer that of course I'm not a medical doctor, but when someone comes to me and they have some kind of a pre-existing nagging injury or something where they've had, surgery or something that isn't shutting up, it's not leaving them alone. A lot of times I find that while there may be some kind of an anatomical issue that needs to be worked out manually through whatever, deep tissue workout, strengthen around the area, anything like that, if it's residing inflammation or something along those lines, contrast therapy has changed. It's changed my life, and it has changed the lives of so many of my clients. A bit about, and I want to dive deeper into this, but a bit about how we train at my facility. And this is what I'm getting in a PhD. I'm starting that off here in the next, pretty excited, in June.
Sick.
Yeah. What my thesis is on is the combination of strength training and contrast therapy inside of a 30-minute metabolic window. So what our facility does, it's very cool. We have the training, which is essentially phase one of every session with us. Everything is one-on-one or two-on-one. We do, partner training. They do the strength training with me, with the program that we design. I have a mobile app we use for peer-to-peer sharing. They do that. Then they go into the back. And in the back, and Andrew, if you can find something like this would be incredible. We have our ice tub and our sauna. And what I have learned, I got into this a lot because I had a client that had, he was misdiagnosed with ALS. Yeah. He had nerve damage going up his legs. He had restless leg syndrome. He couldn't sleep. And as a family member. So it was very personal for me. So I essentially started looking into the design process of these tubs.
What does that say, by the way?
Frost-right chamber. Frost-right chamber. Cool. So it's a self-sustaining ice tub. It filters itself and it makes its own ice. We run an ozone filter and it basically chills like a freezer. Yeah. And so what we've done, and we're in the process of we're going to eventually make and manufacture these. So we're pretty excited. We'll get one out to you guys for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah. We're some very cutting edge stuff from some investors that aren't me that are going to make a very, very cool model. But everybody does strength training. Then they go back and they do contrast therapy. And our sauna is outstanding. Gets to 220 degrees.
What sauna is this?
We made it.
You guys made the sauna?
We made this stuff in-house. This is not these. Yeah, we worked with. I have an incredible engineer. I have I've got great people around me, and that's a big key to doing this kind of thing. But our sauna we made. Wow. So it's a great little unit. It's not a infrared. If I could do my thesis,
you would rather have an infrared? No. You don't want it?
No, I don't want an infrared. I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it. Everybody around me, you're like, yeah, but it's cooking you from within. I'm like, okay, maybe it works. Yeah. Maybe it does. And I'm sure it does. But when I sit in an infrared and I get in there, it's like, okay, 20, 30 minutes. Okay, I think I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Like, you do not have that problem. You get into that unit. Am I crazy? Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah, because the heat is super dry. And you're talking about the type of sauna where you put the rocks on it and stuff like that.
Those are better. I like the way those feel better. I get to use an infrared sauna at this place in Sacramento called Asha. Theirs goes up to 195, so I do sweat. Yeah. But I've also been in the sauna that you guys are talking about, and it's different.
A dry steam, that's what they call it. With the stones. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got a bowl, you do the water, and it steams, and it's hot. Yeah. And that's the thing, is it's like really hot. And what's amazing is, I don't know if y'all have ever done contrast therapy. There's a place that's pretty popular. It's called Optimize, where they do, essentially what we are is a private training facility with Optimize in our facility.
Nice.
So we have essentially what they offer after each one of our strength training sessions. And what I have found, getting back to your earlier question, if you do strength training and you do contrast therapy closely together, and this is, to be determined research because I want to do it. I'm going to do original research on this. What I have found is that, first off, the benefits for weight loss for individuals who that is their goal, doing this is the most efficient thing that I have ever found.
How so?
Again, the research has to be done. I have to now do it. But what I have found is that doing contrast therapy finishes off the workout and because when you get into the ice tub specifically, I mean, your metabolic rate, when your heart gets going, and you are I am teaching you the breathing techniques. We are going through the meditational process. We are doing everything we can to keep your sympathetic nervous system down, which is hard enough coming off a HIIT workout. But you're getting into the ice, and now you're at a place where, your body is, it's the, you're overheating with the workout, you're chilling in the ice, and then you're heating again in the sauna. Doing that, and again, I need to do the research. I'm so excited to do it, but I have found my clients who have all, like, weight loss has been their thing. Since I started doing that, it's changed everything. And for injuries, the removal of inflammation, the toxins from the joints, the ligaments, the tendons, that would, the cold is powerful.
I can absolutely get behind you on that, because whenever I have little nagging things or whatever, I'll step into my cold plunge at home. Yeah. Literally, I'll do it for 1 minute or 2 minutes. I get out of it. 30 minutes later, a few hours later, I'm warmed up. I just feel much better. Joints feel much better. It's wild.
How many times do people go back and forth?
So that's a very good question. I have found it varies based on the individual. Some people like 5, 5, 5. My personal favorite, I like 10 minutes cold, 10 minutes hot. I like straight up.
How cold is it?
10 minutes.
It's 34 to 37 degrees. That's what our water stays at. Now, that's my model, and my model's a little extreme. That's just me. I like it. I like the mental fortitude that you build by doing that as much as the physical. And we could talk about that for an hour, just the mental benefits of being able to enter that environment and overcome it. It's I mean, people with anxiety, depression, insomnia, I've had cops with PTSD who have done this with me. And I'm like, hey man, look, I have this idea in my head that I think this might help you. We need to try this out and just kind of do what I say and tell me if this helps you. They've sworn by it. The mental stuff on that is as powerful as the physical, in my opinion, from what I have found. But getting in that for 10 minutes means you have conquered the breathing, meditation, and the cold. You have overcome that. And what I will do is, now I'm at a place, I actually lead classes through TikTok on our live platform while I'm in there.
Yeah.
So I'll talk through, like, all right, y'all, the cold is not constant. It's going to come in waves. This is the first wave, about 3 minutes. And then I'm going to start to cool out, start to get numb. I'll feel all right. And then the second wave will hit me. And that is something that if you ever go 10 minutes and 10 minutes, what you want is what I like to call aftershock. See, after you do the cold, your body is going to naturally want to get back to your normal body temperature, and it's going to do that through vasodilation, pushing the blood back to your extremities after it left. It's painful. I've seen grown men cry. It is an overwhelming, can be an overwhelming process.
Painful in what way? Like your skin is, feeling weird, or is it like painful mentally more than anything else?
Very hard to describe.
Is it physical pain?
Oh, it's physical.
Okay.
It's also, it's weirdly emotional too.
Yeah.
And for me, I've done it enough to where it's like clockwork. It's fine. I don't get any stress or anxiety about it at all, because I understand the worst part of the whole ice bath is that 60 seconds before I get in. I'm thinking about it. My mind, I'm getting myself, kind of ready, and I'm getting myself kind of amped up. You just naturally, there's nothing you can do. Your heart's already elevated just looking at the water. But what I have found is that, I'm sorry, what was your question again? I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I was just saying, like, what kind of pain?
Pain, physical or mental, yes. Physical is certainly the more of not so much your skin, because you're kind of numb, but as that circulation starts to happen, and it is
I understand. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. You feel very. First of all, you are convulsing, most likely. You've been in the cold for that long. You're shivering naturally.
Yeah.
Once you get out, the way I describe it, it's like getting into the cold again. Because your body, when you first get in, that first 3 minutes is by far the most difficult. I tell my clients, if you can make it past 3 minutes, you can get to 10 minutes, no problem. You're there.
I got to try that.
But if you go in and you do 10 minutes, then you get out. First minute or so out of the cold, you're fine. You're numb. You don't feel anything. As you start to recirculate and get your body back to normal temperature, you start to feel like that first 3 minutes all over again. Because your body doesn't quite get, am I cold? Am I hot? And then you add the sauna in there as well. Now, the sauna is actually kind of a Band-Aid. It's beneficial for me and our process because our clients, a turnaround time for our sessions is about 70 minutes. So that's that's a decent amount of time. You got phase 1 training and then contrast therapy, which is about 25 minutes if they do 10 and 10. The sauna is there to kind of get you, because most people wouldn't be able to operate their car. If you got into that ice bath for 10 minutes and you just got out and tried to leave, you would probably crash your car. Like, it's probably not safe.
Shaking.
Oh, I've had to do it one time. One time I forgot to turn the sauna on and then I had to go. And I was like in my car, just like, but the sauna helps kind of reset you. You won't even sweat. 220 degrees after the ice bath, you will not sweat. You'll get in there, you'll feel right, and you'll leave.
Power Project family, how's it going? I hope you guys are enjoying the episode. And I want to tell you, sometimes when you're a lifter, you need certain pieces of equipment that's going to help you perform a little better in the gym. Just like the hip circle is going to help warm up your hips, knee sleeves are going to keep your knees warm when you're squatting. The slingshot's going to help you bench a little bit more. But the cool thing is that Mark made all of this equipment when he was in the middle of his powerlifting career because he wanted equipment that could help him perform better, as it can also help you perform better. The cool thing is that all this equipment was made for lifters by lifters. Andrew, can you tell them how to get it?
Yes, that's over at markbellslingshot.com, and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject10 to save 10% off your entire order. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
I've done that before. This place has a cold and hot, but I was curious. Number one, do you have these people take electrolytes? Because obviously they're sweating a lot while they're in the sauna. But secondly, have you ever had the sensation of like airheadedness or lightheadedness when you're doing contrast therapy? What happens sometimes is I'll go into the sauna for whatever. I'll get out, I'll go to the cold plunge, and when I get out of there, it's almost like I want to faint. Like literally, I feel like I just may pass out. Not because of like I've sweated or anything, but I just feel like a lot of like airiness in my head.
Oh yeah,
I'm good, but it feels unsafe.
When you feel this, is it immediately when you get in, or is it when do you feel this sensation?
So like it's random sometimes. So I'll do the sauna, I'll get out, I'll go into the cold plunge.
So you're starting with the sauna.
Yeah, no, sometimes I start with the cold plunge and sauna, but like when I remember the last time when I did the sauna, came out, and then I went to the cold plunge around 3 or 4 minutes while I was in the cold plunge. I was looking at my heart rate, it was really low, and I was just like, stay here, Nsiba. Stay here, stay where, right? And I was like, this is weird.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what you're talking about.
Do you know what the fuck's happening?
I honestly don't. I honestly don't. And you know why? I did it a couple times. I used to go cold, hot, and I did what you did, where I would go in the sauna, get myself, because your heart is so low, beating so slowly because you're meditating in the sauna, you're so hot, you're overheated. Then you get out, then you get into the ice, and you don't even really feel it. You like get in and you just like, I remember one time I did it at night, and my tub is outside, so I'm looking up. The stars were going,
ooh, yeah,
like rolling. I'm like, okay, I'm fine, but I'm not about to let my clients do this in the back, like while I'm working with the next person. No way. Yeah. So I don't do hot to cold. I only let my clients do cold to hot.
Okay,
because of that exact reason. You're right. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but something happens when you go hot to cold as opposed to cold to hot.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay.
And, I try to preface my cold, because that same exact thing can happen when you get into the cold initially. That shock factor hits you. So what I do is I teach my clients the breathing patterns. Is that alive? Oh, that's an old one. Man, look how short my hair is.
Sorry, I was just going
how short those shorts are. My gosh.
Hey, we love short shorts.
Yeah, much shorter, please.
Yeah, I've seen you guys do the short shorts too. That's awesome. Yeah. But, oh boy!
I couldn't find anything where you were in the sauna, so I was trying to just find anything. But there we go.
That's alive. I think is that IG?
Yeah. But I think it might have been alive because it's longer than any of your other ones.
I'm imagining some of what's happening is like your blood pressure, your blood sugar. Some of these things are probably shifting around quite a bit. You just got done with exercise, so who knows? A lot of times people say that your glycogen is kind of depleted after a training session, and maybe it's exacerbated when you go into a sauna and then go into the cold and things like that. But what I would imagine is happening in terms of body composition, you reporting that you've noticed some good changes with your clients. I would imagine it's just a further boost in the metabolism, in burning calories, because we know that when you go into a sauna that your heart rate does increase a bit. And it's very obvious that when you go into cold, your heart rate's going to increase. So maybe it's just an opportunity for people to kind of almost absorb the stress of the workout in a more comfortable, cleaner way.
I like that.
If that makes sense, like more efficiency. Like people get all caught up with the calorie thing, and we've circled the wagon 9,000 times on is a calorie is a calorie.
Yeah.
But what we found is that like there's certain calories that aren't used by the human body very efficiently for energy, like protein. So protein and fiber, they get to be a little bit of not necessarily completely free, I don't think, but
Sure.
they definitely have a different caloric value than what they're currently assigned of 4 calories per gram, or at least it kind of appears that way.
Right.
And so I think with something like what you're pointing out here is like maybe this somehow just makes the workout a little bit more efficient or assist with recovery, helps the body be a little bit more efficient with burning calories, things of that nature. But I love when people like yourself are doing things like this and you're sharing the information, but not necessarily saying, hey man, you're going to lose, 8 pounds of fat in 6 weeks. And you got this program and you're selling an ebook of hot and cold and all this kind of stuff. You're just saying, look, man, this is what I do with people. And I've noticed that it's working really well. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not going to sit here and give you a bunch of science and what I think, but
at least not yet.
I'm going to go test it and see what it looks like.
Oh, I love it. And to your point on the calories and Seema, what you mentioned as well with the electrolytes, I do have a supplement that I do give my in-person people. I don't rep supplements that much, but I have one where it's an amino acid and an electrolyte that they take after phase 1, before phase 2. So they do take a real clean amino, just something quick, something absorbable that they just take right before doing the cold. Not everyone does, but a lot of them do. And that, I think, helps them get through phase 2 as well. And I think it is just a nice capstone for the workout, because anybody who's done cold and hot therapy knows, better or worse, when you're done with it, you're going to have that euphoric feeling for the rest of the day. You're going to feel so good. And it's amazing to me the amount of, because this is somehow I wouldn't say a controversial topic, but there's a lot of information out there saying that it can interfere with hypertrophy training.
Oh, yeah.
That cold can. I tell people, look, again, like you said, I'm just repping what I know to be true for myself and my clients, just what I've seen. Is it good to do every single day? Probably not every single day, but a couple times a week, I have found it to be invaluable. And it feels amazing. You feel so good. How many times you leave the gym we leave the gym, we feel good all the time unless we got hurt. But most people, they go to the gym, they do their thing, they leave, they're like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm not, whatever. You leave the gym after coming to us and you do the cold, the hot, and the workout all together. You've done, everything's succeeded, everything's tracked, and you know that you got it all in. You feel great. Aside from the sense of accomplishment, you've got that just euphoric sense from the cold and hot that just gets you going through the day. You've got an energy boost beyond anything. Doing that, you couldn't go to sleep if you tried when you go on that. That's what some people ask, could I pass out? I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Like, you go on that cold, you've never been that alert in your entire life. And again, I can only rep what I've seen and what I've done and what my clients have said and all the testimonies from the people who I know. I'm not, of course, the only voice in this arena. Cold therapy is very popular. It really is life-changing. And for us, it has shaped our business model and what we have been able to create. We're already kind of we do things to the tune of a different, drum. Where, the garage gym training empire is already kind of unique and weird, but now to combine that with something that is going to be, peer-reviewed research, it's its own, kind of training modality and uniqueness. And that's really what I want to show everyone how to do. And not just create a gym in your garage and do something with it, but to create kind of a method. Create a gym, and just kind of go with that. That's really what I see as sort of the future.
And then would you say that so ice bath and then like a really hot shower contrasty enough, or does it have to be? Okay. Cool.
Oh, absolutely. Well, our place, optimized, those are probably that's the peak. Like, you get the best, coolest feeling from going to the cold water. I do recommend water. I will say that I've done cryotherapy. You ever done cryo?
I've done. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not
man.
even close.
Water as a viscous material, it transmits temperature. Unlike, it's an ancient perennial substance on Earth. It's a human experience. Getting into freezing cold water is amazing. There's something so primal about it. Literally. I mean, I'm sure you all have heard Wim Hof, seen his whole thing on the lizard brain. All that's true. You are tapping into some very, very old methods by getting in that. We didn't invent shit. Like this is an old technique that people have used for recovery and for strength. I mean, getting uncomfortable. That's the biggest thing. Again, getting back to the mental side of things. Just pushing yourself to be in a situation where you're no longer an American in a 75-degree room all the time. You're in a very, very uncontrolled environment that you need to harness.